Hi, welcome back to Springfield Arms. It's Guns and Coffee, and you're with Zaire, and we're looking at an iconic firearm from the Beretta stable, and that's the 92 FS. Andrew, welcome.
If I am
So, where did the 92 FS become so popular? When did it become so popular? Really? It's actually a cult classic, modern day classic. 92 FS featured in lots of movies as well. I mean, if you look at the back in the day, movies like the Die Hard series, Lethal Weapons, Carlito's Way, he carries a 92 FS with Al Pacino. A lot of the movies you see the 92 FS. Really came to the fore in 1985 when the US military was looking at replacing their then standard issue pistol, which was the Colt 1911 45 ACP. That gun served them from 1914, which was the First World War, right through to 1995. So, First World War, Second World War, then was the Korean War, then it was Vietnam. So, 4 wars, the 1911 Colt served the US Army and served them well. 45 ACP round, 230 grain bullet at 850 feet per second was certainly a inverted comma man stopper. Heavy bullet moved slowly like a sledgehammer. Poof. A guy that was highly adrenalized or on found himself in a state where, you know, in World War II, they were what they call the kamikaze Japanese guys. They used to do a bayonet charge. I don't know if you've seen it.
yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those in the movies.
So what used to happen was, and these guys were courageous for whatever it was. So
No fear of death, I would imagine.
very brave guys. I know we're drifting a bit for the topic, but very, very brave guys, Japanese. And so what would happen is they would actually storm a machine gun nest. They call it a machine gun nest. So if you can picture this, you have an American soldier, GI, World War II, manning a machine gun, and his buddy next to him feeding the machine gun with the belt, you know, the ammunition comes on a belt. And this guy would have, I think it was a Browning 50 caliber machine gun, handles on the side, firing. But what would happen was that barrel would heat up. So after a certain number, the rate of fire, by the way, 700, I think it's 750 or 800, I can't stand to be corrected, rounds per minute. Full auto. Right, so that guy is firing. So you can imagine how hot that barrel gets. So you had to stop firing in order not to burn the barrel out. So they had to change the barrel. They kept spare barrels there, just screwed off, put another barrel on.
That's insane.
So they have water there and they used to pour water over the barrel to try and check. But that takes time. Also, when the rounds ended, they have to reload, you know. So there was a time frame where that gun would be out of operation, out of battery. And so these kamikazes would storm this machine gun nest. And so you can imagine hundreds of these old with bayonets running in with their, you know, and they were determined. Those guys panicking to get the barrel together, you know what I mean? Put the barrel back on and whatever. So they had to use their small arms. And a lot of the times, outcomes of Colt 45, dropping these oaks. Happened in Vietnam also. There's a movie called We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson.
Yes. I do recall that movie.
It was the first time that the Americans actually used helicopters to fly the troops into the battle zone. And that particular movie, as the guys were landing with the helicopter, they come in, the guys jump out of the plane onto the battlefield. It's just chaos. Close quarters, eh? Oaks are firing. And you just see these Vietnamese guys running into the American foxholes, you know?
Yeah.
And these oaks are just 45. Bah, down, 230 grain ACP full metal jacket. Anyway, fast forward to 1985, the contract came up for renewal for a military army issue sidearm. And there were certain specs that they were looking for. One was capacity. Now you know the 45 ACP in 1911 carries how many rounds?
Roughly 8.
8. As compared to the Beretta, which carries 15. So you're carrying double the capacity, 124 grain or 147 grain rounds, 9 more. Half the weight, one bullet is half the weight of approximately of the 45 round.
And roughly double the.
So you're carrying double the capacity at the same weight as what the 45 would carry in 7 rounds. So stands to reason, go with the 9 more. So that's one of the reasons why they switched over to 9mm parabellum. The second reason was 45 ACP 1911 platform was single action only. So you carry the firearm with the hammer back and the safety on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
With the Beretta, it's double action, single action. So you could carry the firearm, locked, cocked and locked, arm in the chamber, put the bullet in the chamber, hammer down, safety on. Very safe to carry. So you've got two safeties in essence. One is the actual hammer, which is down, which makes the first pull of the trigger. If I put the safety off, double action. So watch. If I show the camera, gun is unloaded. If I pull this trigger now, I'm doing it slowly for you, just to show you. Look how long the pull is.
Yeah.
All the way back, bang. So that first shot is like, it would have been a definite, I had to pull the trigger. It wouldn't have been a startled response, you know,
100%.
which is single action, bang, oh my goodness, type of thing. So that is why the army really wanted it. And also the police, a lot of the police units around the world, in fact South Africa as well, they went on to use a copy of the Beretta 92, which was Z88.
Yes.
And that stemmed from the Beretta 92. So this really came into the fore in 1985. By the early 90s, with the army, by the early 90s, a lot of the police precincts or divisions throughout America started using the 92 FS. They remember they were using revolvers.
So that double action on the trigger definitely shows like you had to have intention to shoot the first shot.
100%.
So I guess it's almost like a third safety, in a way, I would say.
Yeah. So the 92 FS really came into play, I would say, in the early 90s, where police units also were moving away from revolvers. They were carrying Smith & Wesson Model 19s, which are K-frame 357. 6 shots. And they found themselves outgunned, literally, coming up against the bad guys in America carrying high capacity 9mm submachine guns like the Mac 10, the Tech 9.
Very true.
And this 6 shots wasn't going to do it, so they adopted the Beretta 92. Quite a few, like the LAPD, NYPD, just to name a few, went on to the 92 FS. So, just a little bit on the 92 FS. The firearm, funnily enough, or strangely enough, is manufactured where? Italy. So can you imagine Smith & Wesson being an American company, when this went up for bidding for the 1985 US Army pistol trials, we had the Beretta 92, we had one of the Smith & Wesson earlier models in 9mm. Glock, I think at the time also put out, they had the Gen 117.
Yes.
Also went in there. There was the SIG P226.
I recall.
Also went on for military trials, but Beretta won it. And there was a big hoo-ha in America as to how could an Italian company supply,
American military. And
but they used it for 30 years.
well, it definitely stands out as a flag. I mean, both situations with the cops and during the war, and kind of with that 15 round capacity, definitely answered the question both times.
Yeah.
In that era where you have a firearm that not only has all these safety features but also comes with a 15 round capacity, which even if you're a normal police officer, you need that capacity to be in battle, to be in a shootout.
True.
It was basically deemed necessary both times.
Handguns, when it comes to the military, are really secondary weapons. They don't really, they focus on their rifles. This is like a last resort.
Fair.
Compared to civilians, we focus, for civilian life, you allow the shotgun in South Africa or a pistol as your primary for self-defense, Section 13. It's the opposite. Military is really rifles, it's not pistols. But I just always loved the feel and the craftsmanship of the Beretta 92. You know, it especially in today's modern era of polymer frame, i.e. plastic firearms, I find that the craftsmanship of the 92 is from a bygone era of full metal frame firearms. But what they've done with the newer versions year to year as they've progressed is that they've improved on a lot of things. One of them is the weight. I don't know if you feel that. It takes you by surprise because you expect it to be heavier.
Definitely. I would say probably half the weight that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's quite light actually for a metal gun.
Yeah.
I mean, just looks alone, you would think you would judge the weight as a lot more, but no, definitely comfortable in the hand as well, shockingly so.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very comfortable. Beretta is one of the oldest firearm manufacturing companies in the world.
I believe they're actually celebrating 500 years this year.
It's insane. 500 years
Half a millennium.
of manufacturing firearms. I mean, they've got heritage. When you look at it, made in Italy, it's just got a different feel. You feel you're holding something significant, something that was put together carefully. It wasn't molded out of some 3D
Years and years of trying and testing.
plastic. I'm taking nothing away from polymer frame firearms. I think there's a certain sense of security and the solid feeling in one's hand, the confidence you get from these hammer-fired firearms, which I find the polymer striker-fired guns can never replicate. The triggers on your hammer-fired firearms are significantly better, in my humble opinion, from any polymer frame firearm on the market. And I think that's why guys from my generation and older tend to always say, we've got CZ75s and 1911s, and they don't want to give them up because of the way that firearm feels in the hand and the confidence you get. I bet, and I've seen it with a lot of new shooters, you put a 92 FS in a new shooter's hand and you put a polymer frame pistol, and out of the box they just tend to be more accurate with the...
Very true.
Have you had that experience?
I've seen it firsthand, and I think with the surprising balance and the weight of these guns, the shot, it's not just a shot, it's an experience. A lot of the times people are shocked at the first shot they take with these guns, and it's not just the result on the target, you see it in their face. They kind of look at you with that shocked look, as in, why was that so comfortable, why was that so accurate?
They're like amazed at their own.
It puts a definite stamp in the experience with polymer guns, and I think also the way that the industry is today. It's not just nostalgia anymore. It's definitely something that people are going to work their way around back to.
Yeah. So moving on, I mean, this is the 92 FS full size, and then they came out with the compact version, which I kind of preferred. And this is the 92 FS in a compact. Never feel it.
Butter.
Excuse me. So they kind of shortened the barrel and the grip. So this actually came out with two 13-round mags, right? But the mags are interchangeable, and this, I mean, you put a 15 in there, it's got a bit of a lip there at the end there. Okay? But 15 rounds in a package the size of a Glock 19. That's the size of a Glock 19. It's a little thicker there
On the handle.
the handle, but it kind of fills your hand up quite nicely. You know what I mean?
It does. I mean, with the mag, it's definitely got good balance, and I would imagine that for any person, whether you're first timer or an experienced gun user, that would be important for you. At the end of the day, the accuracy of your shots is pretty much a big part of why you shoot. So I would say the handle is a little bit different from a polymer frame handle, but even with the compact version of the 92, it still sits so comfortably, and the balance is not so off to where you think a metal frame gun would be. You think that it's very top heavy, or
Yeah.
that it would sit with a lot of pressure on your middle finger that sits just below the trigger guard.
Yeah.
But
You
it
got a bit of a
actually doesn't.
cutaway there, yeah.
100%, but it actually doesn't.
Yeah.
It still sits comfortably.
I like it. I like the compact version. Fits the hand nicely, like you say. And also, I feel millimeters, yes, it's not significant, but creates it's quite a difference when you put it in your pants. You're carrying the firearm, that little bit there or there at the bottom on the grip makes a difference, you know. Especially if you're not a bigger build guy. I mean, you can put an 18. This is an 18, and I mean, these are original Beretta mags. Up to 26 rounds Beretta mags, so there are extended mags available for the Berettas. And this became quite popular with the detectives as well in the States. You know, they moved away from the snub nose revolvers. They could option either the Glock 19 or the Beretta 92 FS in the compact version. And funny enough, more expensive than the full-size version. Good few thousand rand more. That's the 92. You know, there's a wide range at the moment of aftermarket accessories now for the 92. So the Beretta's got, besides accessories, you've got spares like your springs and screws and grips. So all available, all made in Italy, you know. Moving on to another icon, modern day icon in the series of the 92 is the M9A3. That was the US Army designation for the 92 FS with a little bit of a difference. So remember, they started with a standard 92 FS and it merged and morphed into what we're seeing here,
So this would be the military version of
the 92 FS. And what they've done here is they've addressed the issue of the grips. You'll notice these are all unloaded. The back strap here, significantly thinner than the standard 92. You can see it here as well.
100%.
So for smaller hands, you're able to get, I don't know how they did it, but they shaved off millimeters. When you hold this now, it kind of feels, okay, I'm able to wrap my hand around much easier if I have smaller hands. Yours might feel different. They've improved on the mag release. It's an extended mag release there, okay? extended mag release. They put on a rail system. Also another requirement, the military wanted able to put a weapon light for obvious reasons. Okay. Also, it's suppressor ready. So we had the M9A1, A2, A3, and it's just been small improvements along the way. So now you can attach a suppressor, you know, and that you could understand where would that fit in context with the military.
Fair.
All right. A lot of people don't know that silencers or suppressors are not silent per se, there's still noise.
100%.
But you're not going to get that crack
I think we've overestimated
from the movies.
100%. We've overestimated just how much it dials the sound down. If I was standing in the room next door and you shot with the silencer on, I'd definitely still hear it very pronounced.
You would,
So
yeah.
it's but I would suppose for the purpose of military use, or maybe something that they would be used to, then it's definitely a nice option to have, especially since it's coming with the small little features that have improved over time. But like you said, even the grip and the back strap, they've improved it to where it's diamond shaped.
Yeah.
It's a lot thinner and it's got the diamond shaped grip, which gives you a lot more hug on the gun.
Yeah.
So even though it's a small little improvement, it's a big improvement to the comfort of the hand, which is ultimately what you want.
So these are night sights. They glow in the dark. Okay. One of the things I've always said, and you can feel it on this one, it's how smooth that slide is, and the fit and finish. It's butter smooth. I mean, this hasn't even been lubed. Just took it out the box and
Easy slide.
solid and smooth, glides, it just glides along the rail. You'll notice that the barrel, okay, it's kind of in a fix, very different from your Glocks, where your Glock barrels are sitting like that. This is kind of in line, fixed there. And when you put the magazine in, you'll notice that at the first round with the feed ramp, it's actually perfectly lined up with the barrel. So there's no ramp really that it's, you know, the round has to go up. The ramp there, it's
Already
actually,
set in place.
it's very, very, very shallow. So reliability, you know. And to strip these guns also very easy. They made it that way so the guy could take it out in the field, strip it down, lube it, clean it, lube it, and ready to go. You know, feel that.
Suppose it made it a lot easier as well with the fixed barrel.
Yeah.
Definitely saved him a lot of time. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Minimal effort needed there.
You know what this reminds me of? The conversation that you have when you talk about cars. And you say, well, you know, that era of the V8s, you know, the old Mustangs. Yes, they never had the maybe they don't have the 0 to 100 or straight line speed of the modern day vehicles, but there was a certain sense of that solid feeling, and just, you know, you sit behind the wheel of a 69 Mustang, it's hard to explain, you know, it just feels different from every modern day car. And similarly with these firearms, I mean, being around such a long time and still being around today, you can appreciate that feeling of solidness and craftsmanship that I find lacking in a lot of the polymer frame firearms. You know?
Definitely a very classic piece, to say the least.
Something you'd look at?
Definitely. I would say, especially because I have a lot bigger hand and I tend to have a lot more strength in the upper body. In terms of comfort in the hand, the balance is something that took me off guard. I will not lie about that. But also the safety features and the fixed barrel, it's giving me a lot to think about in terms of convenience, comfort in the hand, and also the safeties that I want. As it shows here, this one is coming rail ready for a torch and a laser, should I so feel in the future that I need one. But in terms of features, it's coming so feature ready that it's hard not to look at something like this that also has the tag on it that is a classic feel.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll see a resurgence. Well, we've already seen interest in metal frame firearms. You know, they've now playing around with a variety of metals, you know, aluminium mixed, you know, steel, etc. Different types of metals to reduce the weight. And there's a new generation of gun owners now that are looking at metal frame firearms. You know, that are not happy with polymer frame firearms. In fact, we see it when the P320, which is the M17, the SIG that won the contract,
Yeah.
it replaced the Berettas. A lot of the soldiers are saying, you know, we want to go back to the 92 FS.
The good old faithful.
Good old faithful. But I suppose in time, just as the 92 became popular, I'm sure that the SIG would also probably do well going through. But we'll give you a good deal.
Nice series, definitely a very, very nice series. To see where they come from and where they're going and how they've stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Not
it's
only that,
achievement. Yeah.
it's they've stamped their brand, and a lot of companies are trying to get these full metal frames, and they're kind of looking at the shape of the Beretta.
Yeah.
And no matter what feature they have or how feature ready that they are, if you put this next to something that's new in the metal, you kind of like, okay, I see where you took your inspiration from. But definitely, I mean, Beretta is 500 years old as a feat.
Yeah.
And to go from just barrel manufacturers to the 92 FS and the whole series that they've come up until today is just an amazing feat.
Sure.
And I don't think it's something that's going to be easily replaceable. And if it is, there's nothing that's going to beat that classic feel of a Beretta. There's nothing that's going to beat the stand of time. And also just going forward with that, the polymer generation that we're in, they better be on their toes.
Yeah, well, Smith & Wesson already, they've taken the MNP series, which is polymer, and they've got a full metal as well. They brought it out about 2 years ago. So that's doing quite well overseas. Hasn't really picked up a lot in South Africa, but yeah, so we see a lot of the manufacturers, though they're making polymer frame firearms, looking at bringing in full metal frames. Who knows, maybe Glock generation 10 would have
I'm intrigued to see where it's going.
full
Definitely.
metal, yeah.
We'll see. We'll definitely, I'm sure that we will see definitely a lot of inspiration taken from these. But very intrigued to see where it's going. But a lot of people, and it's shockingly becoming more and more often, that we are seeing people moving on from the more modernized weapons to these just because they're not only convenient, but they're reliable. I mean, these aren't even properly lubed up, as you said, and the slide action on these is insane.
Insane, yeah.
Weight, balance, grip, how feature ready they come, the double action on the triggers.
Always look at the
It's hard to
slide,
replace.
the tolerance here, you know, on the slide and the frame. You can see the lockup is good. I like it. Anyway, guys, have a great day. For quality, real-world firearm advice, you know where to come. Have a great day. I'm out of here. Andrew, all the best. Bye.